A potential new focus for America's top spy agencies, global warming. House Democrats are pushing for a measure that would set aside some intelligence funding for some studies on climate change. They're arguing that global warming could one day have an impact on just how the U.S. conducts foreign policy and national defense. Now, some critics in the GOP calling this an unnecessary and costly burden on intelligence analysts, and that it takes the focus off the urgent issue of fighting terrorism. Here to help break all this down, Christina Bellantoni, the congressional reporter with the Washington Times. Good morning to you, Christina.
Good morning, Alex. How are you?
Well, thanks. I hope you are too. This one, it's a hard one to make the sense of the argument. So give me what the Democrats' argument is here and why they think intelligence agencies should be analyzing global warming.
The Democrats, they said that on the advice of several former military commanders that they want to take a look at whether climate change will affect national security. And so they've ordered what's called a national intelligence estimate, which is kind of the broad intelligence community coming together and doing a very comprehensive study on the topic. And it'll look at it over a number of years and kind of assess whether this measure, whether climate change can affect national security. And they're worried that it might.
And Christina, in terms of the size, the scale of all this, would this seriously eat into the intelligence budget, or do you think it would be just a small fraction?
Well, the intelligence budget is classified, but at this point, the Republicans say that it's diverting scarce funds away from important terrorism operations, but the Democrats point out that the bill, which is estimated to be around $48 billion, it's an authorization measure. They're saying that at this point, they're spending a lot of money on counterintelligence. In fact, they're hiring more CIA analysts. They're trained in more languages, and so they're saying that they're spending more money on intelligence than ever before, and that this is probably a pretty small provision.
Do you think this could explode into some sort of serious political dogfight? You know, the war on terror and global warming, after all, are two real hot-button issues these days.
Sure, and since the Democrats took over in Congress in January, they've put a real focus on global warming. They've created a special panel in the House to look at it, and their Speaker Nancy Pelosi is from California, and she's promised a pretty broad package of climate change measures to come to the House floor by 4th of July, and this could be a real political fight in the next week. You should expect to see it on the House floor on Wednesday, and the Democrats haven't decided if they're going to allow Republicans to amend the bill, and if they do, more than likely the Republicans will try to strip this provision to study global warming from the bill, as they tried to in committee.
So and it's also bottom line, I mean, is this likely to pass?
Well, there's a long process, and it has to get through the Senate as well. The senators on the Democratic side also want to put this provision in their version of the bill, and then ultimately the two chambers will have to reconcile the measure, compromise, and it's a long process before it becomes a final bill, but the Democrats have the numbers and potentially can get this through and study it.
Okay, Christina Bellantoni, congressional reporter with the Washington Times. A most interesting discussion. Thank you.